Welcome back, everyone. The iPhone SE 3rd generation ended up coming out officially, so let's go ahead and do a camera comparison between that and the iPhone 8, which is kind of the phone that's kind of its successor. Now, the way I took these photos, I took them in the exact same lighting conditions, one after another, basically within probably seconds, if not, tens of seconds within each other. Now, I will tell you the iPhone SE 3 and the iPhone 8 have more similarities than not in terms of hardware. They both have single lenses on the back and single lenses on the front. Obviously, you can do 4K at 60 on the back of both these phones. You can do 1080p on the front of both these phones. The biggest differences you're going to be able to tell is that the iPhone SE 3 does have portrait mode. The iPhone 8 does not have portrait mode, but that's really pretty much it. Everything else is pretty much the chipset that's going to be doing the improvements. So things like the image signal processing, anything like that, it's going to be giving you a better situation on the iPhone SE 3, but definitely you're going to be getting better, quality lenses if you're getting multiple different lenses on your phone. That's probably the best way to put it. So things like the iPhone 12, 13, even the iPhone 11, you're going to be getting more flexibility. But when it comes down to these two, I will tell you there are some differences for sure. Now, the iPhone SE 3 photos and videos, well, photos in this case, will be on the left. The iPhone 8 photos will be on the right. Now, even immediately this first photo, I'm already able to see some differences. The filtering of the iPhone SE 3 looks way better, and the iPhone 8's photo looks much cooler as well. Now, if we go and zoom into this little portion right here, which is the one portion that I've been kind of zooming in at, I've been able to tell that the iPhone SE 3, at least in this specific case, looks a lot better than the iPhone 8's photo. The iPhone 8's photo looks a lot more cooler, bluer of a color, which is fine, so people prefer that. Personally, I love how the iPhone SE 3 made this, photo look so much better in my opinion. Also, I'm kind of able to tell the iPhone 8 looks to me that it's a little bit of a blurry color. I don't know what's going on with the iPhone 8 photo. Again, I tried to make it in the best condition possible on all the photos I took, and even on this first one, I'm able to see that the iPhone 8 photo, in my opinion, there are some really big differences here. Much cooler hue to the iPhone 8's photo for sure. The iPhone SE 3 photo definitely wins here. Now this next photo, pretty basic and nothing crazy. Again, just direct lighting and everything. And one thing I'm able to see is that right here, in my opinion, I'm able to see that the iPhone 8 photo was actually kind of, blasting this color out a little bit. So it was kind of overexposing the sun here. The iPhone SE 3 in the exact same condition was actually able to go ahead and make the color look a lot smoother and just look a lot more even as well. So there could be a lot of things going on here. I mean, there's probably more so the chipset and, the newer sensor we kind of have on the iPhone SE 3, but this was a really big difference. Now, if we go to a spot in the photo that is supposed to be, I guess, more even, I can't really tell a crazy big amount of difference. I mean, one thing I'm able to kind of tell is that the color of the dirt on the iPhone SE 3 looks a little bit more, I guess, I don't know the best way to do it, to say it, but it looks better in my opinion. Looks like I can see a little bit more of the grains and stuff on the iPhone SE 3 than on the iPhone 8. But when it comes down to everything else about this photo, pretty much looks exactly the same. But the thing that stood out to me the most was pretty much this specific situation here. I mean, immediately there's some pretty big differences here. Now this next photo I took in absolutely horrible lighting conditions, and I just wanted to see how they would kind of, compare. And even in this case, I didn't really see too many differences. The first two photos were much, bigger differences. If you're taking them in lower lighting conditions, I really don't think there's too many crazy differences here. They both don't look that great, although I will tell you the walls look a little bit different, but even here, it's not as big of a deal as some of you may expect. And I do think, I mean, even the grains here, definitely not a crazy big deal in my opinion. And I do think both these photos look pretty much the same, to be honest. Now this next photo was taken outside, and this is another case where I can kind of tell you like what the differences are. So starting off with the background, you can see that the iPhone SE 3 photo, in my opinion, looks a little bit better in the background department. It looks a little bit more lighter. The iPhone 8 looks a little bit darker. These were in the same lighting conditions as well. In my opinion, I like having a brighter photo than I like a completely different looking background, and this one, I would definitely say in real life, it looked probably more like this than like this. This one looks like midnight kind of, or like going into dark. This one was like more like midday. So that was a pretty big difference. Even in terms of looking at this leaf portion right here, if you look at the leaf portion right here, I do like how both of them kind of look. I will tell you, there have been phones that were way worse than the iPhone 8s that looked way worse than the iPhone 8, and I can definitely tell you the iPhone 8's photo looks pretty good here. The iPhone SE 3 photo looks pretty good here as well. The leaf itself looks fine, and I do think that actually when you look at the leaf, I mean, they both look kind of the same too. The background was the big thing. I'm seeing that there's just overall more darkening going on the iPhone 8, and I like a darker photo, but I don't like it when it's kind of affecting the way the overall like timing of the photo looks. I mean, the iPhone 8 photo looks like it was taken in a completely different time than the iPhone SE3. So I'll definitely say the SE3 kind of wins here, but they're not super crazy different in terms of this photo at least. Now this next photo taken in horrible lighting conditions like I mentioned, and immediately I'm already able to see some bigger differences here too. So like I mentioned before, I don't really think you're going to be seeing big differences, but in this photo, I mean, you can tell that for some reason the yellowing of the iPhone 8, you can see that the photo in the center of this little photo thing, whatever we're looking at, it does look a lot more yellow than the iPhone SE3. Is it a big deal? I don't necessarily think so. I think it's one of those things that just kind of comes and goes. But when you have a photo or video like the iPhone SE3, it definitely makes the color look a little bit smoother, and it makes it look a little bit more poppier as well. So if we look at the background here, I mean, if we look at like this little flower bulb here, we got this flower bulb. Again, I'm kind of seeing I kind of think that the iPhone SE3 photo, again, looks a little bit better here. But both of them look pretty good. I don't really have too many complaints on either one. But, the iPhone SE3 definitely wins here. Now this next photo taken outside again, and one thing I've been seeing is that with some older phones, like even like the iPhone 8, they tend to kind of darken the background of some of the elements of the outdoor photos, where the iPhone SE3 kind of brightens it. So you can see on the sighting here, again, the iPhone 8 looks a lot more darker than the iPhone SE3. The SE3 still looks great. I don't have too much to complain about here, but I will say, when it comes down to both of these, the iPhone SE3 is probably the winner here. So that's a really good thing too. Now this next photo, again, pretty much of, just the whatever this was, the light bulb. Now one thing I've been doing is pretty much zooming into here, and you can already see there's some differences with the coloring. So both of them look great. There's not too much to kind of complain about, but I will tell you the colors look a little bit better on the iPhone SE3 for sure. The background looks like it's popping up a little bit more, which is nice. There's really not too much of a bokeh effect on either one of these. They both kind of give me the same impression. I will tell you though, one thing I've been seeing is that the bulb that we're focusing in on the iPhone SE3 looks a lot more in focus, and you can see a lot more detail of it than on the iPhone 8, and that's something I've been seeing on a lot of different phones. So that's a pretty big thing to keep in mind as well. When you're getting an iPhone SE3, you're going to be getting a lot more detail in these photos. Even though there's the same megapixel count and everything, there's something with that new Apple A15 Bionic chip that definitely makes these photos look a lot better than the iPhone 8's photo. Now finally, I think this is the last photo. I tried to do portrait mode on both these phones. The iPhone 8 does not have portrait mode. The iPhone SE3 does have portrait mode, but it doesn't have portrait mode for animals. So that's kind of the weird situation we're at right now. So when it comes down to these two, I mean, definitely you're not going to be able to tell too many differences here. If we go make our way over to like the background here, I can definitely see there's some brightening going on with the iPhone SE3 photo. So I think that's good. But the background is not blurred on either one of these. And again, that's kind of the problem you're kind of running into when you have a phone like the iPhone SE3. It's not a bad phone, but there's not as many features as compared to something even like an iPhone 11 or an iPhone 12. So the iPhone SE3 is supposed to be this brand new phone, but it's a budget phone, so you're not going to be getting all those cool features that we would expect. So even from here, I don't really see too many big differences. They look almost the same thing. So that really kind of covers up this specific comparison. And to be honest, to kind of sum up this whole entire comparison, I do think a phone like the iPhone SE3, there is a difference, and there are some, upgrades going from an iPhone 8 to an iPhone SE3. But to be honest, it's really not anything crazy. If you're somebody who knows how to even use the stock Photos app and filter it out a little bit, you're going to be getting a better situation, I think, or if not the same, from something like an iPhone 8 than on something like an iPhone SE3. Some advantages of the iPhone SE3 I've noticed is that, the filtering looks a little bit better when you're going through and just using a photo and kind of, going that direction. And I think that's really pretty much it. There seems to be less graininess, and it seems like it's a little bit more accurate in the colors. So if you're outdoors, what you see in real life is probably a little bit more so what you're going to see on the photo of the iPhone SE3 than on the iPhone 8. But the iPhone 8 and the SE3 have the same type of lenses, they have the same video resolutions you can film in, same megapixel count for the most part. There just isn't really a big reason to go from an iPhone 8 to an iPhone SE3. Yes, the cameras are better, but it's only slightly better. And the iPhone SE2 and the iPhone SE3 have pretty much the same exact photo quality in my opinion. So you can even go from an iPhone 8 to an SE2 and still pretty much probably get the same type of experience in my opinion. So if I were you, if you're trying to get the best camera for quality, dollar per value standpoint, I would probably recommend going to something like an iPhone 11 and get that additional ability of doing 4K at 60 on the front and that extra ultra-wide sensor. And it's a newer sensor too, so you're probably going to be getting a better experience on something like that than on something like an iPhone, SE3 in my opinion. So that kind of covers it. If you have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.